Hey everybody, how's it? Aloha. All right, I'm back again. Today's, I think I'm going to probably do one more after this. This is Radiohead. The name of the song is Lift. Now, I am familiar with Radiohead because my daughters really listen to a lot of music on their digital radio stations and iHeart and stuff like that. And I remember this was on one of my daughter's playlists, at least as a band. So I kind of know what I'm expecting, but I've never listened to one of their tracks through and through. I may have caught a hook or something, while they're listening to it around the house. I know this is a little different from a lot of the metalcore and stuff that I'm doing. Please indulge me with this, but at the same token, if you're really down for what I'm doing with the breaking down as the decomposer, the old composer that I am, I always find these wonderful things within each piece of music that I'm listening to bring, I might bring light into engineering. I might bring light into arrangement and composition or songwriting or stuff. So, I think it'd still be a fun ride. And of course, if this isn't your jam, don't worry. I got the stuff coming. I've got some Mudvayne coming. I've got some pretty crazy stuff coming around the corner. Also, I want to thank you folks who've been very kind and generous for buying me a cup of coffee. My channel's not monetized. And, whenever you buy me a cup of coffee, some of the money goes to some of the kids' stuff that I do, which is down in the description if you're curious. So stand by. And also the headsets, AKG 240s, there's a link below. And I even put a link to the hat. I've had so many people say, dude, that's a cool little cabbie beanie. So that's down there as well. There'll also be Radiohead Spotify, Radiohead where you can buy their music. And also the link to this video will also be down below. So here we go. Radiohead Lift. All right. This is a very moving song here in the sense that I'm not really listening to the lyrics. For those of you who know, I treat the lead singer as an instrument part of the band. The structure of the song is very uplifting. I think maybe that's why the name is Lift. And I'm noticing it's an elevator, so there's got to be a dual messaging in there. The guitar playing that's going on, there's a few things I want to bring up. First, let me just start off with the intimacy of the recording and the engineering on this. When I say intimacy, there isn't a lot of spacey, ambient post effect going on here. And what that means, remember I do my breakdowns that are just nuanced, they're not theoretical. Sometimes I dance a little bit around that, but I like to bring you guys something to kind of enjoy this song in a different way, perhaps, without demystifying it too much. Post effects in ambient can be reverbs, that make it swimmy and long, sounds like it's in a long place in a hall or something, or a plate. And sometimes effects do that. When I say this is a very intimate recording, it really sounds like I am sitting, let's just say they're playing in a garage, and they've got a bunch of friends hanging out, and the drums are very present. That feeling of being very present is what makes it intimate to me. And also, thus far, there's not a lot of wailing going on in the drums, meaning like it's not some powerful playing. This song in of itself, and its composition and its arrangement, seems to want to keep you in this continuous kind of glide kind of vibe. Let's talk about the guitars really quick. Here's another thing I love about the engineering, and this is so different than a lot of the bands and the tracks that I've been breaking down and decomposing, because I talk about the power of stereo effects and everything. The production, the arrangements, the composition, the engineering lends itself to what I call isolated panning of instruments. So in other words, one guitar is on this side, another guitar is on this side, and while this guitar is actually holding, when I say this, I'm referring to my left in the headset, is holding down these beautiful chords that have these notes that linger, that ask for resolution. For musicians, we would call that seconds, suspended seconds, sus4s. Sometimes it's a deviation of that, a slight deviation, it's an added 9 to it and stuff, but it asks, when you're just listening and you're just a listener, it's asking for a resolving. But it's in a very, the voicing makes it very uplifting and lighthearted. I don't want to say pretty, but it just gives you that wanting it to resolve. But then what they do is when that resolve comes, it resolves into another beautiful chord that still has that resolution hanging out there. It kind of keeps you feeling moving on. His voice, excuse me, his voice, I don't know much about the singer, and I don't know where and if he's a very powerful singer through and through, but within this particular song, it is absolutely wonderful. It's perfect, his tone, the timbre of his voice for what's going on here. Now, as a little later, they got a little more into their song and they got into their hook. It did lift in its power, but they also had a very unique, I don't know because if they have a keyboard player or not, but there was a little bit of a keyboard line that did a little counter arrangement. So with the hook, so something else was holding an arrangement. So what that means is a counterpoint arrangement is you could have, well, for instance, in the sense of the guitars, this left-hand guitar was holding a really nice, beautiful pattern. But over here, when this guitar came in, probably about 45 seconds into the song, it was holding its own arrangement in the same key, but gave it this nice complement to each other on how they're playing off of each other. And so that's what, so far, I'm very brought into this style of music, and I'm thoroughly pumped on what I'm hearing so far. So let's go back a little bit, like I do, and continue on.
So light it up square.
Wow, what a great ending. I love the dynamics in production when it comes to making the decisions on how do we end a song. That whole coming off of their hook and then dropping right back into this really kind of very mellow part of their journey as they're closing off the song. I love it when they do that. And that's, that kind of purposeful composition and arrangement and production decision really takes some thought because, you have hard stops, you got fades, you've got creative ends, outros, you may want to call it. Another thing I want to bring up really quick that I really enjoyed, didn't sound like live strings, but I'm not going to say I know because I never know, and I can always count on you guys to fill me in if I blow it somewhere. But the arrangement that sounded like strings in the back, I really enjoyed that. It wasn't fat, it wasn't rich in the sense that there was multiple harmonies within that arrangement, assigned to the strings. It could have been fatter, it could have been multiple layers of strings in that arrangement, but they decided just to hang out on that note. Just like that Mellotron or that one sound that they used that I really enjoyed, how the singer in the second half of the hook followed that line and just added this I don't know how to explain it, what happened in here in the tone for me, but it was very, it wasn't Ginsu knife piercing, but it was, it really made you hang on to what I thought was the fifth of that chord that was being played there, blah, 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 theoretical. Yeah, I'm really, really pumped to this. And why I'm really pumped about this too is it gave me, myself as a listener, and since I'm doing my decomposing kind of stuff, it gave me a breath of fresh air for a second, and as far as the engineering techniques were concerned. A band that wanted to present themselves with this particular intimacy and, really just, one guitar's over here, one guitar's over here. It's not about, a complete wall of sound because the song seems to be very personal. It seems to lift through the whole thing. So anyhow, thank you guys very much for hanging out. If you're still here, type in, I'm still here. Sometimes I get a little kind of weirded out that I make these long videos, but if you walk away with another understanding of something I bring to you, either as the listener, which I wish I could be, but I can't because I'm a decomposer. Music, it's always happening. But even if you made it this far and you're into the prog rock and the heavier stuff that I do, but you're into the composition aspects, producing, dynamics, engineering, this was a really wonderful kind of reset in the palette of dynamics, for your sonic enjoyment. Anyhow, thank you once again. The link for this video will be below. Their Spotify will be below. Where you can, buy their music will be below. And if you do decide to buy me a cup of coffee, that would be super cool beans. If not, I'm still going to drink it. While it's flowing, I'm still going. So as I always like to end my videos, you guys have a wonderful day. And all right.